Do you have a brilliant startup idea but are stuck in the launching phase? Are you feeling overwhelmed by funding, marketing, or just where to start? Don't let your startup idea stay grounded. Visit our website at eapla.com to schedule a Blue Couch meeting and launch your startup journey today.
Welcome back to On The Cusp. Got my co-host Matt Snyder back with me today. But this is exciting for me because we have the Bill Joyce.
The
Bill Joyce.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah, that guy right there. All right. And his partner,
Rick Simpson, yes.
Rick Simpson.
But not partner in life.
Not life partners.
Yeah, I know
not
your partner in life. So what are you guys up to now?
We're making movies.
Okay.
We're trying to make a bunch of them.
Making some rad movies, making some
in North
different...
Louisiana.
Yes.
That is the plan.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, Rick, you go with it.
Well, I'll tell you
the money guy.
I'm the money guy. Well, I'll tell you this. Bill has worked with Hollywood all of his life, and we are trying to change that. Now, you know, we're still going to work with Hollywood because we have to. We have to work with Hollywood for the most part, whether it's distribution, whether it's, you know, talent. You cannot just not work with Hollywood. But Bill and I talked about a year ago, and we decided our families are here, our wives are here, our roots are here. We can't just go to Los Angeles every time we have a film and set up shop for development, pre-production, production, and post-production. We'd never see our wives. We'd never see, you know, our families. So we made kind of a pact. I think it was a blood pact, wasn't it?
No, we used another liquid, but I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah,
It's binding.
It's binding. Legally, it's binding. And so we just kind of made a pact to where we're going to do stuff here. I was in Hollywood. I was in LA for 20 years. Bill was back and forth for how many years?
A million.
130 years.
Yes.
And so
that's before there were films.
Before the American Revolution. So
they were black and white at least.
Yes. Yes.
They're actually on
before the talkies.
Paper, you know.
But no, we wanted to do it here. We wanted to do, that was our main thing. We wanted to do it here. And so for a year, we've started getting local partners, and it has worked out very well for us. We had, and I'll let Bill talk about this, we have a script that we've developed. It's done. We have the artwork done. And usually that's what you go to a studio for. You go to a studio and they give you money to do a script, to do the story, to do all the artwork, to do the renderings. And so we've done that here with the support of local people. And the name of the movie is Shadows Come. And I'll let Bill take over from here because he's a storyteller.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, great. I'll craft something. Look, Hollywood's changing really fast, and it's becoming a different kind of beast, and it's somewhat endangered as a concept. Like the pandemic and streaming have wrought havoc on the industry, and we can tell now it's becoming more possible and almost essential to have satellite studios that will make, develop, produce, and then find ways to distribute films. And it will go a lot faster, a lot easier, and a lot less expensively if we take that route. And even people in Hollywood are starting to come to me about, hey, can we help set up shop in Shreveport? And so it's a little different than it was back in the film heyday that we had after Hurricane Katrina. Those movies came here because of disaster and because we have these amazing tax incentives. We still have the tax incentives. A lot of other people have tax incentives. What's shifting now is that it looks like it's not just going to be Paramount and the major studios that are going to be the people who distribute the films. It looks like there's going to be a different route that'll involve streaming and new entities, right? And it feels like the old way of doing a movie that we've all known, that has been with us since the history of the movies, is sort of on the wane. And I have ambivalence about that. There's a lot of sentiment for me about the way movies used to be made. But I don't think it's going to last. And I think it's going to be up to regional divisions and places and outposts to do this, to do what movies do.
Yeah. Do we have everything we need to build that? I mean, it's an industry. right? Do we have everything we need in Shreveport Bossier to make that work?
Well, here's the thing. From the beginning of my career, since I was very specific about staying here as much as possible, since the 90s, I've been figuring out how to do it from here and go there, back and forth. And more that's what's going to be happening. But then it's getting to where you can make the whole thing here. And that's been the case for a while, but it's how do you distribute it and how do you get the money in the first place? Getting money out of Hollywood is the hardest thing. They want to be involved in the process, and that's fine up to a point. But the way they generate their ideas and the way the overhead that they have and all the people that they have within the studio to help you make the movie, everybody feels like they have to put their 2 bits in. And so a lot of times you see a movie that's been watered down because it's gone through the system for so many iterations. I've worked on movies that took 7 to 8 years to make because we be up to a certain point in the production and then everybody at that studio would get fired. There'd be the head of the studio would get fired and there'd be a regime change. And then we'd have to placate all these new people, and sometimes it just diminished what the movie should be. We want to be outside of that system, and that system is getting even more fragile. I've tried to do a new version of Roly Poly Oly for the Disney Channel last year. In the course of 4 months, we went through 5 regime changes. It just became too hard to keep working with all these new people to get anywhere. And now they're basically shutting down the Disney Channel and merging it with Disney Plus. And so there's nobody really in charge right now. So there's no way for me to continue.
But that's really the whole industry. I mean,
that is the
live streaming right now has changed the way you do that. And somebody that can produce a quality, and I don't want to say film, okay, but product, let's just call it what it is. It's a product that you can then go sell to a streaming service that'll put it out there is kind of the way that's the industry is going.
Even the huge like Happy Gilmore, like how random that is, but Happy Gilmore 2, which would be such a huge studio movie,
box office
movie, is on Netflix, and it's just gonna be released one day. That feels so weird to me.
It does for sure.
Like the nostalgia of
going to the
your
movies.
ticket.
But let me tell you this. Everybody watched the Oscars. He and I watched. We actually had a little Oscar party, and we watched these movies. And if you go, one of the best things we saw was Sean Baker. When Sean Baker won for Best Director, I think he won all 4. I think he won.
He won everything.
He won everything. But here's what he said. He said, I hope, and he took that platform to go, I hope that people will start going to the movies. And he spoke directly to this, he spoke directly to the studios and said, start putting movies back in the theater. And I thought that was such a grandstand thing to do, to use that position, because you're right. Happy Gilmore would probably make $60 million at the box office.
I don't go
Shame
to the
on
theater.
you.
Okay. I don't. Why? I go home. I flip through my streaming channels and I go.
That's garbage, Dave.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch
It's too easy. It's so American.
This is going to be an easy piece today.
Yes.
We didn't know we were in
But
the
you
house
got to
of the enemy.
convince me. Why do I want to go? Okay.
Because it's a better experience.
Yeah.
All right? I know what you mean. It's hard to get out of your house and go sit somewhere else and then come back, right? When you can sit in your bedroom and you've got this giant screen TV maybe and a great sound system. But if you sit in a theater with a bunch of people on a big screen and that's the only thing you're focused on, it's a different experience. It's a more vivid experience. It's a more powerful experience. At home, this is what happens. And I have to sit down and tell the kids, Mom and I are watching a movie. Unless the house is burning down or there's, dinosaurs outside.
Yes.
Don't come ask us what lunch is going to be on Thursday. Okay? We are watching this movie. We don't want to stop. Because if you're sitting in the movies, right, does your kid turn to you and go, hey, are you picking me up from basketball practice tomorrow in the middle of the movie? Because everybody would yell at them, and you would be mad too.
Or they're sitting there scrolling, okay?
Oh, yeah,
And that's what gets me. My daughters are sitting there scrolling when I'm trying to watch a movie. They hit the sound, and now I'm listening to what they're listening to. So I'm with you, okay? And I'm taking you down this path on purpose, okay? Because you guys want to do it locally.
Yeah.
We want to do it locally. Now, that doesn't mean, that doesn't have anything to do with if it's broadcast in a theater or not. The reason we want to do it locally is that the film business is in chaos. And a lot of people, a lot of smart people in the business are starting to think of how to do it outside of the old system. There's a real push towards that. I've been approached by guys out there that are like, how can we set you up in Shreveport? And I'm like, that's cool. But every time a business gets bought from out of state, every time it comes not just from here, it's less tailored for here, right?
Yeah.
And if they decide they want to pull up stakes, they can pull up stakes and take it wherever they want, and they often do. We want to try to get as much of the investment as we can here locally so that we can control it's being filmed here and made here and not taken away, that we can make this industry be here and stick. Because the money comes from here and the money wants it to stay here.
Yeah. And I think, too, and just to kind of piggyback off that, I think what we're doing is the most exciting thing that people don't know about. I do. I think it's the most exciting thing that's happening to Shreveport that people don't know about. They don't know that we're trying to do that here. And I think if more people knew that, there's a lot of people that, Bill brought up a good point. Hurricane Katrina brought people here not on purpose.
Right.
And so we're wanting to do this on purpose. This is a purposeful. This is going to be on purpose. This is not an after effect of Hurricane Katrina. We're consciously going and saying, you know what? We're going to dig our heels in the sand. We're staying here. We're staying with our family. We're staying with our state. We're staying with our city. And I think that, in a year, what we've accomplished in 1 year has been what studios probably take about 3 or 4 years to do. I'll also say this. Let's say you have a project that's $10 million for your production budget. Well, if you take it to a studio, they'll be like, okay, all right, this is good. It's probably going to be about $25 million. You get, well, where's the other $15 million coming from? Oh, well, we're going to have marketing in there, and we've got to have our CPAs and we've got to have our people doing it. And it's just not cost effective, because even if your movie makes $50 million, you have a budget that's 25, and it's a lot of studio math. Now we're not poo-pooing on studios. Studios are great.
They have their role in the industry. The industry is changing significantly.
Is changing, and their role is changing. So what I've done the last 3 years is I've taken local investment and I've developed 5 different projects, some television, mostly movies. And we're just starting to take a couple of them out to market. Everything was done here, okay? And I've sold one to one of the major studios. Another major studio is negotiating for one of the others. It worked, right? Yeah. We did it here. We took advantage of the tax incentives as much as we could. I brought people in. I used people that are already here. And we made this presentation. We wrote the scripts. We did all the legwork that usually takes the studios years to do and lots more money. And as soon as I presented these things to the studios, they're like, this is awesome. This is ready to go. They didn't have to do all the development that they usually do. And the development that gets so cumbersome, and with everyone doing their input and going, hey, can we make this guy a chicken instead of a Valkyrie? I don't know.
Or a duck.
Oh, what was the other bird? What was the other bird?
What was the other bird?
What was the other bird?
Crackle.
A crackle.
A grackle.
A grackle.
Yeah.
We're all going to be Googling what a grackle is.
So anyway, it's like, it was an experiment. The money came from here. It worked. Now we're moving to the next step. We'd like to start making, not just doing the development here. Now we want to make them here, right? And that's going to take more money from the local economy and from people here that believe in this city. And that I think will work.
Yeah, and it's low-hanging fruit too, because I don't know if you guys know kind of what the development process is in films. Do you guys know?
I'm not a film guy, for sure.
But so this is what happens. So usually, let's say Bill has an idea. It's a kind of a fleshed out idea. Well, he would take it to the studio, and the studio would go, okay, I'm going to give you $500,000 to write the script, get the treatment done, get the artwork done, get renderings done, and then you've got it. We'll whatever. But the problem here, and sometimes it's more like $1 million because it's a production company, you got so many people. But the problem there is once they do that, they've got you. They've got you because they own it. And if we have people that are here that can say, hey, we're gonna put in, $200,000 or $300,000 for this project to get a script written, to do this, to do that, you're getting 20 cents on the dollar here. Because in a studio system, I feel like our development project, we easily got 25 cents on the dollar.
We were able to do it so much quicker, faster, and effectively than we could at the studio.
Yes.
That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
And without all the overhead and all the regime changes and all that kind of stuff. And we can control, at this point, we control everything about where it will be made. And that is the other thing. It's like, when we start taking too much of their money, they can say, make it in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we're like, well, this isn't all what we wanted to do. And the point of this was to have it done here.
So just so I can understand, when you're done with you're gonna make the entire movie in Shreveport and then figure out where it goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what
That's
keeps
a big
you the
paradigm
control.
shift.
So we're like, here's our movie, it's done. Now who wants it?
Now
Yeah.
on my side,
Pay me
Yes.
to put this out. But are you going to do it? Are you going to do the first showing of your first one in the Robinson here and have it really make it?
I'm sure.
That and hopefully the Strand, because we want a lot
that
of
would
people
even be
to
better.
see it.
I was just trying to.
Yeah.
Are you
But
going to do
look,
it downtown?
Yeah, we'll
It's-
probably do it both.
We'll send it to you, Dave, so you can watch it at your house.
I'll send you a DVD. If you do it wherever you're
No.
going,
I'm going to make you go to the theater and
Yes,
see
yes,
this and
yes.
understand why. So it's like we have the equation is becoming different. So we have more of the power to be able to say what happens.
Oh, cool.
And they need our product, and we have a good track record. I mean, in our business plan, Rick had to put together the grosses for my movies, and I was actually like, dang, I got underpaid.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny seeing all that stuff, and you see, and it's so funny too with Toy Story and a lot of these films, they're back in 94, 95, 96, and he's like, hey, you got to adjust that for inflation. I was like, oh man, I do have to adjust that for inflation because, $300-400 million sounds great, but in today's money, that is a lot.
about half what you really.
Oh yeah, it's so.
So look, we don't think we have all the answers, but we do think we have different paths, and we think we have a good track record, and we think we can make this work in a new way. It's going to be the way things work, and we might as well be a part of that change, and we might as well make Shreveport a part of that change because we want to.
Well, it sounds to me like the market is ripe, ready for somebody to change the paradigm.
Well, and we're not the only ones.
Right, and you're right. There are others out there that are trying to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of shifting going on, and when there's shifting, you have to figure out which way it's shifting and then shift with it.
Well, where there's chaos, there's opportunity.
Yes.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
I really hope that you guys can land that. Okay, and be the first ones to come up with the real model that works. Because, I mean, anytime you bring something to Shreveport, okay, they embrace it. If Bill Joyce is bringing it to Shreveport, okay, people are going to kind of want to see it, okay, because you got the name recognition.
Yeah, let me ask y'all one thing, because both of you guys, I've always appreciated your dedication to Shreveport. You and I have talked about it a lot. Do we have everything you need if you're bringing actors in? Do we have the hotels you need? Do we have the food scene you need? Do we have...
It's sort of like one thing will lead to the other, right?
Right.
And look, actors go wherever the movie is, right?
Right.
And in that period of time when we had so many productions here, we found that like we had to help the productions discover the restaurants that they should be going to. Like, because the stars were like, what do we go, what, it's like, so and then after, I don't know, like a few months, you could go into Cush's Grocery and see more movie stars than you would see in any place in Hollywood.
Well, it was crazy though. Like I was hanging out a little bit with Jimmy Fallon when he was here, and Jimmy Fallon, I was like, "Where are you staying?" And I'm thinking it's going to be some luxurious thing, and they had Jimmy Fallon staying in some like long-term, like rental hotel next to the Rockin' Rodeo.
Dude, I know exactly what in Bossier.
In Bossier, and it was like, and I was like, "What in the world?" Like,
well, I'll answer your question too. In my perspective, from my perspective. Yes, we do have everything we need. There's so many restaurants that are here. There's so many, like even with live coming in, there's so many places. Also, we brought our writer, one of our screenwriters, in from California when he and Bill were doing the story structure, and we have business partners that have rental houses on the lake, 5-bedroom rental houses that, we put them up in, and there's so many
and
Airbnbs.
they were like, this is so peaceful. This is so beautiful to be out on this. What is this lake again?
Yeah.
What are these trees called?
Oh, yeah.
Cedar tree, and this stuff that hangs there, the moss. Is that what it is?
It's an experience for people to come and see like what we do, and they're like, "Where are the alligators?" I'm like, "Well, you have to look. You have to look for the alligators."
I really think you're right, Bill, because it's like, if you have somebody to like curate your Shreveport experience, we can make a week that would blow most people away.
Absolutely.
It's when people come with no guidance.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I've got a guy who's a dentist in the military at Barksdale, and he moved in. They've lived in 4 places, and they moved in next door to me.
Oh man!
I mean, in the first day, I was like, okay, here we're going. And they're living like the dream life.
Yeah.
They think Shreveport's the greatest place they've ever been, but it's because they picked the right house next to the right guy.
Moved in the right neighborhood.
We could always have more better stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Mo better.
But we're the hardest on ourselves.
We are.
Okay? We are hard on ourselves.
It just makes me so mad.
I hear that on a regular basis. So what is it?
We can
What's
get
the next
people.
Step? Yeah.
There is another part to your question that I didn't answer. And the thing is, like, do we have everything we need? We don't have all the people we need, but they will come here just like they have before.
I believe it.
Yeah.
They'll come for the work.
They'll come for the work, and then they'll see how much houses cost.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God. And so
creatives always go to what is in their passion,
Yes,
right? They
absolutely.
will do that. And if there's something that they want to work on, that they're passionate about, they'll come to Shreveport. I totally believe that. And hey guys, we're
let me one more thing. I know we're
Matt's not going to let us go.
I got to hit on this because it matters, and it's a big part of my story. I'm a culture guy. I care about trying to catch our culture up to other places and to have cool things to do in Shreveport and cool things to go to. And when I started my events was when in really a peak of a lot of cool things happening, Moonbot being a big part of that. And when I threw the first Shreveport Derby Day at Norton, I looked across the field, and I was standing with Grant and Andrew, and we were looking at what we had done. And I always tell the story, I saw this girl that I'm pretty sure worked at Moonbot with like a sleeve tattoo, cool young girl in her 20s, dancing to a New Orleans band with about a 60-year-old blue blood Shreveport guy. And I was like, that's the two worlds coming together.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
what we're doing. And
Cosmic
so
collision.
anything that can bring that back is so necessary in my vision of where we need to be heading.
Moonbot really helped, like, youth up the place a little bit.
It really did.
And they all embraced our culture with just wild abandon.
And you saw the business scene of those years, the Key Mexicos, the Great Raft, the Rhino Coffee, all that was kind of that time.
And they were helping discover it. I mean, I would ask them, where should I go? And they're like, oh, there's this amazing food truck. They're out there, you know, really looking, right?
So, we need that again.
Yeah.
We need that. That is a
Absolutely.
part. I'm an event guy. I throw a lot of events around town, and I can tell you at my events, that's very missing right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure.
It is back to
And we need it.
the
And
Shreveport people's kids that are back running their family business are about all I got of, you know, I need you driving some creatives. I need a sleeve tattoo.
We need them here.
At an event.
That's the
Well,
coolest
hopefully,
thing.
hopefully
that
this,
in the city.
you know, is a catalyst for that.
Right.
And helps to do that. And I'm excited about it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Yes,
This has
absolutely.
been
Our pleasure.
enlightening.
That was so much
Our pleasure.
fun, too.
All right.
Enjoy the podcast? We would love your feedback about today's show and who you think should be our next guest. Send us an email at info@eapla.com. Also, be sure to share the show and leave a comment on our social media post.